Hi guys, it's France. Welcome back for this new journal on Monday, for which I'm working in my brand new handmade journal, about which I'll be telling you more in a couple of seconds. I've started with some gesso, on top of which I'm laying a layer of stretch bandage, which is a leftover, and well, you can't throw that away, can't you? Now to glue the stretch bandage down, I'm using clear gesso. This one will pick up the inks I will be working with afterwards, while the white gesso will be acting as a resist. So this will also be used as a glue. Now once it's dry, I can add some water and then start playing with my Colorex inks. I'm mixing up 3 colors here. And as you can see, the white gesso is acting as a resist now. I'm adding a bit more water to create some more splatters. This journal came together by using a tutorial by Jenny Belly, which I absolutely love. She does gorgeous things, and well, I hope this journal will answer my my search for a journal that would allow me to have a bit more dimension while still having the book shape, which I really like about the Moleskine. This is StazOn ink that I'm using to stamp down my text stamp, and I'm using 2 different colors. I'm using green on top and blue on the bottom of my page. Out of this leftover from Foamboard, I'm cutting out some strips because I want to create a frame. Now, Foamboard is actually foam, which is sketched between 2 sheets of paper. To make my new journal, I've been using all different kinds of papers, and the first sheet, which I'm working on today, is a quite heavy watercolor paper, which is also fun because in the Moleskine, well, you only have the sketchbook paper. So in this journal, I'll have a variety of paper to work on. Looking forward to it. Now that I have my 4 pieces, I can start building up my frame. I'm cutting a piece of printed paper for the base of my frame. And before I glue everything on it, I want to distress the paper a bit more. So adding a bit of Colorex to add some splatters, and then some distress inks on the edges, because once everything is glued on the paper, well, I won't be able to do this anymore. And now I can start gluing everything down if my glue wants to cooperate. I get a lot of requests about the products I'm using. What glue are you using? What kind of Moleskine are you working in? You can find all those answers on my blog. For every journal on Monday, I have a complete list of ingredients on my blog. So check it out. Now, to give some texture to my frame, I'm working with Pumice stone. If you don't have any Pumice stone at home, you can mix some sand with glue. The texture will be a bit more fine, a bit finer. I don't know how you say it, but you will still have a fun texture to work with. Now, the Pumice stone is a quite heavy texture paste, so I'm laying it on quite thin, because I don't want it to take 3 days to dry, first of all, and second of all, because I want it to stay on the frame, which is pretty thin. And then I'm leaving it aside to dry, because it's glue in the end, and if I'm going straight with my heat gun on top of it, the glue will bubble all the way. This is an old coffee filter I took at my dad's place. We don't have that kind of coffee filters anymore, so it was quite fun to steal one of these. And this is going to go underneath my frame. As you can see, I made a heart on the top left of your screen, you can see it, which I won't be using, so I won't be explaining how I made that one, because I will show you the one that I ended up using. Now, the coffee filter paper was quite delicate to use. I thought it would be a bit more resistant, because when you make your coffee filter wet and you leave it to dry, it gets quite sturdy. Well, it's still very delicate, so I had to be careful while tearing up the edges. Adding another text stamp on it, this time with Archival ink. And it's not easy to stamp on. I was really surprised. I thought it would pick up more ink than it actually did. And then distressing the edges a bit more. When you leave your coffee filters to dry, the coffee comes off quite easily. So I don't have any coffee on my table or anything, and it smells pretty good. Made me crave for coffee all the way through. And this one can go straight on my page. This is one of those pages where I absolutely didn't know what I was going to do as next step, so I was really going with the flow. This is a strip of tissue tape by Tim Holtz, which I'm gluing down with Décopatch glue. Going in with molding paste over a dilution stencil. And I only want that line of circles, so I'm being quite careful not to get molding paste everywhere. Meanwhile, my frame is dry, so I can go in to colorize it. And I'm picking out some Colorex colors. And I wanted to make it look like moss. So I took a light green, a medium green, and a brown. And of course I need some water, because it's a water-soluble ink, so I want to play with water to tone it down and stretch it all over the pumice stone. So I'm going in with the light color first, and without drying it or anything, I will be going in with the second color. But I'm also doing all the edges. Now, it's not easy on Foamboard because it doesn't pick up that much color on the edges. This is the medium green. And the darker the color, the less I'm adding color. Does that make any sense? And then I'm finishing it off with some touches of brown. And of course doing the edges again to cut out the white of the foam. This is just a box. I just need a piece of cardboard. On this piece I'm going to stamp one of my new stamps by Stampatique, which is called My Heart. Stamping it with Archival ink and then trimming the image. This is clearly for art by Wendy Vecchi for Studio 490, and on top of that I'm stamping with StazOn because I don't want to heat my plastic. I don't want the shape to change. I want to keep it flat. Then I'm trimming it again. You could do the same with just some packaging plastic. And now I'm going to colorize it with Adirondack alcohol ink by Ranger. I'm starting with 3 colors and a bit of blending solution. And I'm colorizing on the other side that I stamped on. Distressing the edges of my cardboard a bit. And then I can glue my heart in place, and I'm doing so with glue dots, just one on top and one at the bottom of my heart. That's more than enough to keep it in place. Gluing everything down. And then I decided to go back in with the brown because it was too greenish to look like moss, but it's not finished yet. Now, as a final layer, I'm going with gesso that I'm putting down with my finger so that it's just picked up by the erased texture of my frame to really make it look like moss. And as the ink underneath isn't completely dry, my gesso isn't really staying white. It's picking up a bit of the color. Another page of my beloved encyclopedia, which I've been using to mop up excess ink. And I'm going to make an embellishment with this one, just like I did with my muslin last week. Except as this time I'm doing it with a piece of paper, but it's exactly the same principle. It's a technique by Robin Marie, which I still love very much. And then I'm taking this under my sewing machine to add a bit of stitching. These are Sennelier oil pastels. Very creamy oil pastels and very easy to blend with your finger. And I'm mixing up quite a bunch of colors on the side of my circles. Now, if you want to go over different colors, you have to be careful that your finger doesn't contaminate the colors. So when I'm going from the darker colors to the lighter colors, every time I clean my finger. Otherwise my lighter color would be completely dark. Now it's the first time I'm working on this watercolor paper to journal on, and I'm realizing I'm so used to my Moleskine sketchbook and its very smooth paper that I'm quite surprised that the Sennelier oil pastels are not being picked up as well as on the Moleskine sketchbook pages. Well, it is quite heavy watercolor paper and it has a bit of a texture, which is fun when you're working with water-soluble inks, but with the oil pastels it's, well, not that good. As you could see, I need a haircut very, very badly. There's still some glue dot on my heart, and yes, I took the heart back off because I wanted to add a bit of a purple shine to the red to remind the color of the circles, of the pastels I've been using on the circles. So as it's simply glued with glue dots, I can very easily take it back off, colorize it a bit more, put new glue dots on, and then put it back in place. Distressing the edge of the frame a bit more. And now I can glue everything down. As it's quite sturdy and quite textured, well, it's quite dimensional, I'm gluing it down with double-sided tape to make sure it will stay in place and it will stay flat on the paper. This video took about 1 hour and a half to film. So after editing, it's about 20 minutes long, but it took 1 hour and a half. I'm stamping another one of my new stamps, which says, "When your heart speaks, take good notes," which is a saying by Judith Campbell. And then I'm adding some acrylic paint of the same colors on the edges again, because the white was still peeking through and I don't like that. Adding some doodling with Uniball Vision, a black pen. As you can see, I had to think a lot about it. And then finishing the edge with the oil pastel. Stamping the date, and of course using the wrong date because I stamped 17 and it should have been 18. And I wanted to add some more black on the page, so I went in with my watered down acrylic paint just to add some splatters here and there. And then I'm going around the heart with a charcoal pencil and blending it. Then I'm going back in with the black oil pastel around the circles because I thought the doodling to be a bit too soft and I wanted it to pop a bit more. I should have done this with the same blue that I used around the page, but too late, it's done, so let it be. After I shut down my camera, I also added a little chit-chat sticker by Tim Holtz on the heart, but I didn't film it. I hope you liked today's video. You can find all the product information on my blog. Hope to see you there. Have a happy week. Ta-da!